Hey cutie pies, I'm Lanikia and you're watching the Equalizer recap. All right guys, today is Sunday, October the 2nd, 2022, and this was season 3, episode 1 of the Equalizer called Boom. Let's jump right into it. As you know, we left off last season with McCall being abducted. Her SUV was hit. Men jumped out and abducted her right in front of Aunt Vi and Dee. So we see that Aunt Vi and Dee are talking to Dante. They're still on the crime scene and they're kind of shell shocked. They can't believe this happened. And they're asking, did you steal license plates? What, like, can you give us anything that would help? And they really can't because they're just so, it happened so fast that they didn't get a lot of information. Now Aunt Vi remembers seeing a man, so they say, okay, we'll help with that. So Dante starts talking to Aunt Vi, and Dee sneaks off and she calls Melanie Mel and tells her, hey, my mom's been abducted. And Mel is like, what's happening, what's going on? And she's like, calm down, we're gonna be on it. So Mel and Harry are talking and they're on it, like they're trying to find out who abducted her, why they abducted her. They already know it was probably Quinn, and it probably had something to do with the bombs, so they're trying to figure all of this out. So then we go back to the police station and we see that Aunt Vi is trying to describe the man, but the person who is how the sketch artist is not getting the person right. So she said, just give it to me. Just give it to me, I'm gonna do it myself. So she takes the pad from him. And so Dee and Dante continue to talk. Now Dee and Aunt Vi didn't want to say at first, but Aunt Vi was like, we have no choice. So they do show Dante a picture of Robin, and he realizes, oh, you're Robin's daughter. Robin is the one who's been abducted. So he talks to her and he's just like, Robin's strong, she'll be okay. She's a fighter and everything. And so then Mel comes up to the police station and she goes to Dee because they met last season. So she gives her a hug and she just lets her know that everything's going to be cool. I'm here now. We're going to take care of this. Don't worry about anything. I know you're scared, but we're going to take care of this. We're going to find your mom. And she's like, okay. So then Dante is just like, oh, so you're the friend. Like, he knows Mel, and he was like, okay, it's good to see you. I see you. He's connecting all the dots now. So then we see Aunt Vi gives Dante the sketch, and she's like, this is the man who kidnapped Robin. This is what he looks like. And he was like, okay, this is good to know. So then Mel and Aunt Vi have never met. So she said, judging by the way you hugged Delilah, I know that you're Robin's friend. And she said, yes. She said, you own the bar, don't you? And she was like, yes. So that, they talk and they hug. And she says, we're going to do everything we can to find her. And she was like, okay. So then Harry and Mel talk and they're just like, okay, so what do we know? And they were like, we know it's Quinn who's probably taking her. We know it's about the bombs. So we need to speak to Griffin. We need to find out what Griffin can knows, because I bet you Omar Delgado, he was on last season. Remember, they set him up, McCall and Griffin set him up to find out where Quinn was at the time, but they didn't get to capture Quinn. So Mel wants to go speak to him. So then we see Dee and Aunt Vi make it home, and they're just so stressed out. They're like, what do we do? And she says, Aunt Vi says, everything is going to be okay. And Dee says, I wish people would stop saying that because my mom is missing. So I'm worried, and it's okay to let me be worried. I need to know, and we don't know that everything's going to be okay. She could be dead right now. We don't know that. We're not for sure. And so because of that, she's just like, I just want people to be real and honest with me. And Aunt Vi is just like, people just want to, stay positive and believe she's going to come home. So then we see McCall wake up, and she's been locked down and everything. So she wakes up and she's like, Quinn, I know this is you. I know you did this. And then the shackles that they had her shackled in, they unhook, they unhook or whatever. Because this is actually high tech where they have her. They unhook and she's like, Quinn, come face me. Come face me. And then we see Quinn on the other side of the mirror because she says, I know you're on that other side. He's on the other side. And the guy's like, can we just kill her already? And Quinn is like, no, not yet. Not yet. We're not going to. So then we see Dante. So Dante gets a call because he's cruising the streets trying to, I don't know, just trying to find out where she could be. And he gets a call that says, hey, we think we see the suspect who picked up the victim, or not actually victim, but who picked up your friend or whatever. And he was like, oh, just tell me the address and I'll go ahead and go because we don't have time for backup. So they give him the address, right? And he goes up to the man, and it is the man who kidnapped Robin. And the man is like, he tells Dante, I don't have time for this. So go on before I hurt you. And Dante said, I'm afraid I can't do that. NYPD, tell me where she is. And he was like, not going to tell you. And so Dante is like, get on your knees or I'm going to handcuff you. So he starts to handcuff the man because the man does get on his knees. And then the man starts to fight Dante. But Dante holds his own or whatever. So he gets the man handcuffed to the steering wheel. After they wrestle or whatever, he handcuffs the crook to the steering wheel. And when he does that, the man had already put gasoline all over the car because he was going to burn the car because he didn't want no evidence that Robin had been in there. So he was about to burn the car. And so now he's inside of the car handcuffed with gasoline all around. And Dante picks up a cigarette lighter. He said, I don't smoke, but I'm betting you do or whatever. He was like, I'm going to burn you up if you don't tell me where she is. So then the man, gives him the information. So we see Griffin and Mel talk, and he was like, I don't know what you want to get from Omar because there's no information that he's giving up. After we tricked him, McCall and I tricked him, he won't give us any information. And she was like, oh no, I'm going to get it from him. So she goes in with Omar and she tells him where the bomb's going to go off. Like, where's Quinn? Where's Quinn located? And he's like, why are you here and not the other woman? He was like, he already got her. And she was like, don't worry about her. You need to worry about me because I'm the only one that can protect you from Quinn. So she starts showing him all these pictures of the other people who thought they were Quinn's right-hand man. And she said all he does is he uses them. And when he has no more use for them, he kills them. And he was like, if he already has McCall, then there is no tomorrow. So I don't even care about, living or whatever. And then the next thing we know, he starts coughing and choking. And Mel is like, Omar. And then Griffin comes in and she looks up and she says, Quinn got to him. He put something in his cigarette because Omar had, I guess, a massive heart attack right there on the floor. And so Griffin and Mel talk, and she says he said that there is no tomorrow, so that means the bomb is going to go off today. So we need to warn the people. And he says, I'm gonna see what I can do because that's above my pay grade. And she was like, well, you need to hurry up. So Mel and Harry are talking, and he's just talking. They're just talking about like, what are we gonna do? We got to find out where the bomb is. She's trying to. He's asking her what all did Omar say, so we can try to cipher if there was any kind of clue. And while they're talking, Griffin calls and he says they don't want to alert the public of that it's going to be a bomb to go off. So they're not going to alert the public, and we're just going to they want to just try to figure it out on their own. And Mel is like, but people could die. Like, we don't know where it's going to be. So people could die. He said they feel like more people would die trying to leave the city and everything. And so they get off the phone with him because he has to go because they're literally leaving at that point to try to find the bombs. And Harry was like, a few strokes of the keyboard and I can alert people. And Mel is like, no, don't do it, because if we do that, they probably are right that it would be a mass panic and that would be worse. So she says, what I'm going to do is I feel like I have to tell Dee and as well as Aunt Vi, because if I don't tell them, then if I don't tell them and something happens to them, I feel like quit. That's what Robin would want us to do. So she goes over and she tells them that y'all have to leave the city. And they were like, a bomb? That's why they got Mom or whatever. And because they're understanding, okay, they got her because she knew all this information and she would be the one person that could possibly stop everything. And they said, so what do we do? And she tells them, you need to leave the city. That's what Robin would want, but you, unfortunately, you can't tell anyone. And so Aunt Vi just tells Mel, thank you, because Mel is like, I'm gonna keep you updated, D, when I hear any information about your mom. So when that happens, Aunt Vi is like, okay, let's go pack. And D is like, no, I'm not leaving. What about Dad? What about my friends? What about like, we can't leave like this. It feels so unfair that we know this information and go run to safety, and they have to stay here and die. So she said, and I'm not leaving Mom, Aunt Vi. And Aunt Vi is like, we don't have time for this little girl. Come on. And she said, no, I'm not going. So then we see Dante and Mel are talking. They're in two separate cars and they're driving. And he says, I think I have a location of where Quinn is. It's like, okay, let me get Harry on the phone. So they get Harry on the phone, and so he starts trying to find the exact location of where Quinn excuse me, of where Quinn could possibly be. And he's like, okay, I have it pulled up, because I guess it's an old warehouse or something that is ex-military, he said, but it's really locked down. It's hard to get into this place, and it keeps kicking me out of the server. But Dante says, we don't have time to like wait. So the two of them are like, okay, we're gonna be on our way and just wait for each other for backup. Now, while this is going on, Robin is there waiting on Quinn to come forward, and a man comes in and he tells her, move. And she's like, I heard you the first time. And so she starts walking towards the door, whatever. And the man punched her in the back with the gun. And so she turned around and, hit him. And she about to get the gun and get out of there. But there was other people there. And Quinn's like, don't make me have to kill you. And I said, well, Robin, just go on with the man. And so then Dante is like, he's found the building that Harry gave him. So he's waiting outside, right? He's waiting outside. And a man, he says, I've been spotted. And they're cracking jokes on each other, whatever. But then Dante said, I've been spotted. So one of the security guys is like, you can't park right here. And Dante was like, oh, my bad. I didn't know. He said, but I was actually looking for this address. Can you help me? And so when the man leans in, because Dante's in his car, he opens his door and knocks the man out, and then gets on top of him and knocks the man out. And he says, okay, I'm going in. And Harry's like, you're not waiting on Mel? He was like, I've already spotted. So our surprise attack it's gone, because that once this guy misses rotation, they're gonna know something's up. So Dante goes in, and Harry is trying to guide him. He guides him to the first part, but then the server goes down, so he's trying to get back in, and Dante was like, what's next? But before Harry can tell him that trouble is coming, two men get the drop on Dante. But luckily for him, Mel came through. So Mel came through, and she helps Dante so the two men don't get him. She knocks him out and everything. And so then they're talking to Harry, and they're like, we're here now, but oh, sorry, we've made it inside, but Quinn is gone, and so is Mel. So then we see that he's moved Mel to a different place. And when he's moved Mel to a different place, he starts telling her about excuse me, no, they're in the same place at this point, because this is going on kind of simultaneously. So he's talking to Robin, and Quinn is talking to Robin, and he's telling her, oh, you're gonna be your manifesto. And she said, you're not gonna get me to read this, but he's made a deep fake of her. So while she was knocked out or whatever, I guess he was cloning her and everything. And so now he has this manifesto where he blames the bombing on her. And so everyone will think she was a disgruntled CIA agent, and she was the one who did this whole bombing and everything. And so they're like, oh my gosh. So then the next thing we see, Mel and Harry go into where they were holding where Quinn was holding Robin, and they were like, it's all gone, but Harry's already in the servers, because they were erasing, but he was able to stop them, and he sees where they did the deep fake, because he said, y'all need to see this video. And they were like, there's no way she would do this unless a gun was to her head. And Mel was like, even if a gun was to her head, she wouldn't do it, because it shows her breathing out about, oh, America has to pay and all of that. And Harry was like, yeah, you're right, it's a deep fake. So no, she wouldn't do that. So then we go back to Aunt Vi, and Miles comes. That's Robin's ex-husband Dee's dad, and he's like, what has your mom gotten into? You're coming with me. And Aunt Vi called him because she could not get Dee to go, so she called him, and he makes Dee leave. And she said it's not fair, and he says we have to get out of the city, we have to go for safety. And Aunt Vi said, I don't care if you're mad at me right now, little girl. I have to do what's best for you and to keep you safe. So it is what it is. I don't care if you're upset. So then we see that Robin is in a van, and they're taking her away. The van is moving away. But she's able to like they had zip tied her, but she's able to get out of the zip tie, and she knocks the guy out beside her and grabs his gun, and she kills all the other people in the van. And so she gets out of the van, and when she gets out of the van, Mel is there because they had tracked these three vans because they had trackers, and Harry was able to find it when he was doing the servers. And so Mel was on one van, Dante is on another van, and Griffin is on the third van. And so Mel happened to be on the van with Robin on there. And so she was like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy and everything. So then all three of them get to the back of the vans, and they're empty. And there's like, Harry, what's going on? And he was like, clearly that was just a fake. But Harry keeps the trackers going so that Quinn doesn't know that they've been stopped, that the vans were stopped. So he thinks they're still moving. And there's like, okay, what do we do? Like, what? So then Robin, Mel, and Harry talking, they're like, okay, so what is it? What, like, we have to figure out these clues. And they say, Robin is like, he says there's only one bomb. So there's not three bombs. It was just a distraction. And then they start talking, and she says, where are all the bombs? And he says, oh, they were going to all these different directions. And then they start thinking, but where would you get the most impact? And they said at Liberty Park. And it was like, so that's where he's taking the bomb. The bomb's going to go off at Liberty Park and it's going to have radiation, because you could it's going to be a dirty bomb, so it's going to have radiation, so that not only would it be able to hit like the Bronx, Queens, all of those different areas with that one bomb. So even if the bomb didn't kill all the people, the radiation from it would do it for everyone else as well. So then they talk to Dante and everything, and they bring in a man who is a bomb expert, and he says, I need hours to do this. And they're like, you don't have hours, you have minutes. So at this point, Harry and everyone comes up, and they're just like, okay, so what are we going to do? And they're like, well, we have to kill this bomb and everything. And so then they say, but how? They asked the bomb expert, how far away would you because if you can't stop the bomb from here, how? They said the bomb would use a detonator. And they said, but wouldn't somebody have to press that? And they said, yes. And Robin is like, I bet it's Quinn, because he would want to see this for himself. So they say they could only be about a mile away. So they figure out where Quinn would be so that he could be able to press the bomb and still look. So Robin says, okay, well then I'm going to go and track him down. And so there she goes. So she goes and she sees Quinn, and he tells her it's too late. And by this time, I'm sorry, Harry also comes, and Mel, and the guy are trying to get the bomb. Griffin and Dante are trying to get people out of the area, because they say, well, I mean, the least we could do is get people out of the area. So then Robin sees Quinn, and he tells her, you're too late. So she starts shooting or whatever. She shoots all the people, and she shoots Quinn, but then he presses the detonator, and the bomb goes off. And so then on her ear, because she's still connected to Harry, she's like, can somebody hear me? Harry, Mel, were you able to make it to safety and everything? And Harry comes back to her, and he says, yes. He said, we weren't able to stop the bomb, but we were able to take the dirty part, the radiation, off of the bomb, and they put it in the trash can. Mel, Harry, and the bomb expert all jump into the trash can, and so that they can, stop even if the bomb goes off, the radiation doesn't, and plus they would be able to survive, I guess, in the trash can. So she was like, oh, thank God. And so she told Quinn, no, you lose, because he told her, you lose. And she's like, no, you lose, because it didn't go off like you thought, and you're gonna be under arrest, and this time you're going to prison forever. And he was like, oh, please, Bishop was just the first. And so then Griffin comes. Bishop was just the first, and then she pistol whips him. And then Griffin comes, and she tells Griffin, keep him in custody this time. And he's like, okay. So Griffin is going to handcuff the man in some kind of way. Quinn got out of the cuffs, and he pulls up a gun, and he's about to shoot Robin. And Griffin is like, Robin, and she turns around and she empties it into Quinn, and then she looked, and then he falls back, and she looks over, and he's on the ground dead. And so that was the end of Quinn. And so then we see that Mel, Robin, and Harry are there, and they're just like, oh my gosh, that, it was so stressful, but they're glad she's okay. And then we see Dante come up, and I said, oh, what y'all about to do? Because he's like, oh, I thought I lost you or whatever. She said, no, it's not gonna be that easy to get rid of me. And so they said, I was like, Mel, Harry, give him some privacy, because y'all are interrupting whatever like little thing they got going on. But anyways, he was just like, I'm so happy, you're okay. And she was like, yeah. And so they hug or whatever, and that was pretty much it with them. So then she goes home, and Aunt Vi and Delilah come in, and they're hugging her, and they're like, Mama. And she was like, I'm okay. And then Miles is about to leave, and she says, Miles, wait, thank you so much. And he was like, I'm just glad you're okay, but this isn't over. Which they're gonna have to have a conversation, because here's the one, Delilah being in danger, because she's trying to help people, and he gets that, but he doesn't want that putting Delilah in danger. And y'all, that was the Equalizer. It was a good episode. I have been missing this show. Like Sunday nights, there's nothing better than like going to church in the morning, and then in the evening, being with family, and maybe somebody has the game on, and just hanging out and everything. And then to wrap the weekend up, getting ready for bed and turning on the Equalizer. It's the best. But anyways, I hope you have a wonderful week. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And I will see you next Sunday for a new episode of the Equalizer Season 3. Thank you for watching.